Hey guys, Miss P here. Today is a short week. We only have 4 days. But we're going to be learning about how to tell if lines are parallel, perpendicular, or neither. Now, parallel lines, if we remember, never ever touch. Okay? They're always the same distance apart. So this is our parallel lines. Perpendicular lines are special because they meet at exactly a 90-degree angle. All right, so this is our perpendicular. And then we have neither. Okay, neither just means they're not parallel and they're not perpendicular. They could be something like, this, lines like that, lines like that. I mean, they're essentially the same thing. They're just lines that are neither parallel nor perpendicular. Okay, so that's just a visual of what these lines look like. All right, now I'm going to show how we're going to find these. Well, parallel lines have the same slope, but a different y-intercept. Now, the reason the y-intercept has to be different, if the slope and the y-intercept is the same, it's going to be the same line. Okay? So an example of this, let's do some examples. We can have y equals, you can pick any number. Let's do 2. 2x plus 7. Well, a parallel line to that would have the same slope, so it has to have a 2x, but it has to have a different y-intercept, so we can pick any number but 7. So it could be plus 2, it could be minus 2, minus 7. It just can't be a plus 7. All right, so when they have the same slopes, right? Woo! And different y's. Those are parallel. Okay? Now we get into perpendicular. Okay? Perpendicular lines have an opposite reciprocal slope. Okay? What that means. We have actually talked about opposite reciprocals. All right? So like 2. Okay? The opposite of 2 would be negative, right? If this is positive, the opposite would be negative. Now, it's the reciprocal. 2 would be 2 over 1. The reciprocal would be flipped, so it'd be 1 over 2. So the opposite reciprocal of 2 is negative 1/2. What about 2/3? The opposite reciprocal, well, it's positive, so it's going to be negative. The reciprocal would be flipped, so it'd be negative 3/2. Okay? So anytime we have two lines that have an opposite reciprocal slope, they're perpendicular. So let me give you an example. Let's do y equals, let's do negative 1/4 x plus 2. I want to find a perpendicular line to that. So we know that this has to be the opposite reciprocal. So our new line would be y equals, if this is a negative, our slope would now become positive, and then we would flip this. The 4 would go on the top, the 1 would go on the bottom, which means it's just 4x, pick any number. We could actually have the same, it could have the same y-intercept. It doesn't need to, though. So you can just put anything. All right? So those would be perpendicular lines, okay? So anytime the slope is an opposite reciprocal, okay? Now, guys, neither just means neither, okay? It's not the same slope. So not the same slope, or opposite reciprocal. Okay? So, y equals 2x plus 4. Now, if I gave you a line that had a slope of 2, it would have to be parallel. If I gave you a slope of negative 1/2, it would have to be perpendicular. So if you give me anything besides 2 or negative 1/2, it's going to be neither. So let's just say y equals 7x plus 3. These slopes are neither. They're not the same and they're not opposite reciprocals, so you would just write neither. So guys, for this week, I am going to give you 2 equations. All you're telling me is if they're opposite reciprocals, which means they're perpendicular, they're the same, which means that they're parallel, or they're neither. They don't have anything in common, and when we graph them, they wouldn't look like that. So today, you're just going over this, but we'll have do nows for the rest of, the week. But guys, you're simply looking at the slopes. If they're the same, they're parallel. If they're opposite reciprocals, they're perpendicular. If they really have no type of connection at all, they're neither. That's it, guys. Don't try to make this too much harder than it needs to be. Hopefully we're all doing well, guys. We're almost there. We're almost to the end. So just please try to just keep up with everything. I thank you all for doing the work that you're doing. I know this time is hard. I know it's been difficult. We're all feeling it. I'm feeling it too. So, let's just try to do our best right now. But, all right. Hope to see you guys soon, and hope you enjoy your week. Bye.